The season's finish in St. Louis, and the fans are dying hard. They spilled out of the stands and were stuffed back. Almost. It was one outspoken critic after another. They didn't have the last word, however, and it was all to the amazement of the visiting Brownies. NFL Game of the Week, the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Cleveland Browns. On the field, offenses weren't as dramatic. The first quarter was a seesaw battle of defense. Gary Collins saw more service as a punter than as a receiver. And as vociferous as Cardinal fans were, they couldn't help Terry Knopfsinger hang on to the ball. Frank Ryan finally did connect with Collins. The result was a 10-yard gain and a St. Louis defense more determined than ever. Leroy Kelly tries to work the sweep. The corner is shut off, and this top rusher gets jammed into the traffic. An 8-man rush brings it to Frank Ryan, and he can't pick up his receivers. It's Gary Collins again, kicking the Browns out of the hole. The Cards began to drive, and the call goes to Johnny Rowland. Hard tackling, pops the ball loose. The Browns have possession again, but possession and the first quarter end simultaneously. The second quarter will open with what seems to be a repetition of the first. It's an adage, though. To score, you've got to gain. And Jackie Smith picks up the first down. Johnny Rowland. Passing, intended for Smith. Kellerman defending. On second down, Knopfsinger with the rush on. Throws down the sideline for Billy Gambrell. 38 yards in the first down. Terry Knopfsinger looking for Jackie Smith. There he is, but Brewer's right there with him. Good save. On 4th down, Bakken tries a field goal from 10 yards out. It's good. The Cards lead 3-0. Browns can't move, and on 4th down, Gary Collin punts to Johnny Rowland. $3-0 ball game. The Cardinals leading. On the double reverse, Billy Gambrell gets good blocking and goes for 24 yards and a 1st down. Knopfsinger to Bobby Joe Conrad for 7 yards. Erich Barnes chased him out of bounds. Prentice Gaunt up the middle for 5 yards and a 1st down. Again, Gaunt gets the call, and again it's 5 yards. Second and goal on the 1. Terry Knopfsinger in there for a touchdown. Cardinals 10, the Browns nothing. Ernie Green, the ball carrier. 4-yard gain. Again, it's Green. And again, it's 4 yards. Frank Ryan looking for Ralph Catfish Smith. Stovall breaking up the play. The Cards have the pressure on. Ryan rushed hard. Gets the ball away, but it's incomplete. Ernie Green, the intended receiver. Frank Ryan now looking for Gary Collins. Ryan's in for 25 yards. Again, Ryan putting the ball in the air. This time for Paul Warfield. No good, but there's a flag on the play. Defensive holding charged against the Cards. 1st down for the Browns. Ryan spots Gary Collins behind the defender, Wilson, and he's in there for a touchdown. Cardinals 10, the Browns 7. Lou Groza, who added the extra point, kicks off. Roy Shivers waits for the football. 5 yards deep in the end zone. Milt Morin making the tackle. 10-7 ball game. Cards lead in the 2nd quarter. Crenshaw for 3. Harry Knopfsinger. Fumble. But he recovers his own fumble. A loss of 8. Wigan, Glass, and Kanicki, the tacklers. This time the call goes to Crenshaw as the Cards lead 10-7, trying to stay in the race for the Eastern Division Championship. Knopfsinger on the screen to Crenshaw. No gain the play. Paul Wigan, the tackler. Gott. Up the middle for 4 yards. On 4th down, Jackie Smith punts to Walter the Flea Roberts. You can watch the blocking here. It was excellent. A good return by Roberts. And now with just seconds left in the first half, Lou Groza will try a field goal from 37 yards out. It's good. Tied ball game. 10 for the Cards, 10 for the Browns. In the third quarter, Leroy Kelly gets 3 yards. Tied ball game as Frank Ryan looks for Paul Warfield. 25 yards. Woodson, the tackler. Frank Ryan, who hit Gary Collins for a touchdown late in the second quarter, looks for Collins again. He has him. 44 yards and a touchdown. And the Browns go out in front. 17-10. Let's take a look at that play again from the ground level camera. You can see Collins getting behind his man, Pat Fisher, and going in for the score. Cardinals with Terry Knopfsinger trying to get his team back in the ball game. They trail. Johnny Rowland for 10 yards and a first down. Prentice Gott. That is a hard tackle. A gain of 3 yards. Konecki was the man who made the contact. This is Roy Shivers. A gain of 5. But the Browns defense forces the Cards to punt. Jackie Smith drills it deep into the end zone. Browns lead 17-10, third quarter. Frank Ryan, again his target, Paul Warfield. 27 yards. Again to the air goes Frank Ryan. Again his target, Warfield. Almost intercepted by Larry Wilson. On 4th down, Gary Collins does the punting for the Browns. (17-10) the score. Crenshaw for 3 yards. Terry Knopfsinger looking for a receiver, and looking for Knopfsinger, and finding is Konecki. A loss of 10 yards in the play. Now on 4th down, Jackie Smith does the punting. Roberts calling for the fair catch. Ryan to Warfield. Good catch. Paul Warfield had caught only 30 passes going into today's game, but he's having a fine afternoon. We'll take a look at that again from the ground level camera. First and goal. Ryan to Ernie Green, who's wide open. Can't hang on to the ball. However, there was a penalty against the Cards. Offsides. Kelly. Three-yard gain in the play. The wrestle for the fumble ball. But actually the whistle had blown here. And though Jerry Stovall came up with it, he doesn't get to keep it. And he's unhappy. Kelly in there for a touchdown, and the Browns increase their lead 24-10. Cards now trying to play catch-up football. Terry Knopfsinger to Billy Gambrell. Hit immediately by Mike Howell. Gain of 11. Knopfsinger again trying to put the ball in the air. That's Konecki after him. And now Bill Glass. A loss of 6. Knopfsinger to Gambrell. And Billy Gambrell gets good blocking from Gray and Sortune, and is finally pushed out of bounds by Barnes. A gain of 49 yards. First and goal on the 10 for the Cards. Intercepted by Houston. Finally forced out of bounds by Knopfsinger. But the Browns have the football. Ernie Green for 4 yards. Minard making the initial contact. Closing seconds of the third quarter to Warfield. Paul Warfield for 38 yards. Going into the fourth quarter, the Browns 24, the Cards 10. Frank Ryan to Warfield again for 18 yards. Ryan to Green for a touchdown. We'll take a look at that again from the ground camera. You can notice Larry Wilson on the safety blitz vacating the zone where Ernie Green neatly penetrates and comes in for the touchdown. Cleveland 31, St. Louis 10. And the Cardinals' hopes for an Eastern Division tie are fleeting into the late evening air. After a Cardinal punt, the Browns are attacking again. Ryan to Moran for 20 yards and the first down. Frank Ryan spots Clifton McNeil in the open. 50 yards and a touchdown. Take a look at that again from the ground level camera. You can see McNeil getting behind his man and just breezing in there for the score. 50 yards. Cleveland 38, St. Louis 10. The Browns halt the Cards again, and offensive tackle John Brown gets set to go back on offense. Jim Nanowski now in at quarterback for the Browns. Intended for Walter Roberts. Williams there with him. And here we go. Number 40 is Erich Barnes. After all of this, Williams and Roberts were both ejected from the game. Nick Petrosani is in for the Browns, and that is he. Getting 3 yards. Robb making the tackle. Nanowski back to pass. And again, it's Robb. A loss of 14. On 4th down, Gary Collins set to punt for the Browns. Billy Gambrell waits for the football. Bryan, the ball carrier. Again at 4. Wigan, the tackler. Hart in at quarterback for the Cards. And Jim Hart is dropped for a loss of 10. Bill Glass dropping him. Hart to Conrad. A gain of 15. Score is 38-10. Browns over the Cards late in the ball game. Again, it's Hart to Conrad. A gain of 7. Erich Barnes making the tackle. Same combination. This time 6 yards. Hart better look out. Vince Costello drops him for a loss of 11. Jim Nanowski throwing deep, intended for Clifton McNeil. Intercepted by Larry Wilson. But the Browns stop the Cards again and take over the football. The give is to Schultz. Now on 3rd down, Schultz again. Slowed up and stopped by Woodson. A loss of 8. Haraway going to the outside. 18 yards. Time runs out, and the Browns win the ball game 38-10. The Browns, by winning, eliminating the Cards from any title consideration and wrap up the Eastern Division crown for the Dallas Cowboys. And the Browns assure themselves of a tie for 2nd place.